Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Aftershow for issue 4 of The Powers That Be. This one was called Goodbye to the Circus, though I think we mostly said hello to the circus. I don't think we're done with the circus quite yet. Let's go around and do our stars and wishes. I will start this time with Magda. Ta-da.
Stars. I think that ECAT did a great job with incorporating her birds, and that was a very good addition to the group. So I appreciated that one. Wishes. I really I realized that while yes, it's good to have my freshly made propellant, I also need a way to distribute it.
Just deliver it.
Deliver it. I need a delivery system. So that my wish is to work on that on my next amount of downtime.
Yeah, and at some point, if you want, you and I can talk, and we'll go over the crafting rules. They made them actually pretty simple in the revised edition, which is nice. So yeah, we can. And given that you're specialized in crafting ciphers and have 3-inch shifts, yeah, you're gonna be creating really good stuff really quickly. Let's go over to ECAT.
Well, for me, the stars actually were Trevor and Ray with all the massive one-liners you guys kept
God, that
throwing
was
out.
painful. It was amazingly painful.
It was awesome. So those are my stars. My wishes is Black Ice needs to work on her bonding with the bird so that she can do more than go, you guys gonna help? So I got to work with Patrick on that.
Let's go to Julie. Stars and wishes.
Okay. Magna, since he did not have a proper delivery system, coming with a plan to shove it down his pants was just absolutely brilliant.
I'm so sad. I'm so angry that I botched that. It would have been amazing.
I was actually tempted to throw another XP at it to let you roll again.
That is all my fault for the perfect rolls for my getting my cipher before game. So I'll take that as my fault.
I should have at least been able to cause some damage from punching him in the junk.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, that was just because sometimes you got to go with plan B or C or
Q.
Yeah.
Plan Q.
Yes, and Ray, I also very much like the coming up with the game plan for strategy. That was really well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a lot of good one-liners. Love the bird bonding, and wishes for me. I need to figure out where exactly she's actually living. I think at this point, I think she's actually in an apartment, locally, as opposed to her childhood bedroom with mom and dad
and the rest of the litter.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's do I'll go ahead and go next because it usually ends up being me and Patrick being the last two. So my star for tonight goes to Ray, partially for the plan, as Julie said, and partially for you did a really good job of role playing his reluctance to use his powers, even to the point where it was actually detrimental to the fight, which was awesome. I'm always glad to see that. Character over optimization is awesome. So I was really, really, really happy to see that. Wishes, I would like to see. I want to see all of the various relationships that we're forming continue to blossom. I would like to see, kind of building on what I just said at the start. Ray, as the speaker of the group, you are kind of the de facto leader. And I am especially with as jaded as he still is, I am really looking forward to seeing what Gen X does in that spot where not only is he conflicted against himself because of his history, but he's also got this bunch of assholes to deal with. So, but yeah, so that's it for me. Ray, we'll go to you.
Star, one of several. The battlefield worked. That was so much better, and just being able to move the tokens around and the visualization. Now, props, like, so I think Trevor, were you the one drawing the wall?
Patrick did it. Oh, you did it the first time? Okay.
Yeah.
Mom did it the first time. I did it the second time.
Okay. So like it would be nice to have something that could stay there, almost like a, you literally put in a prop.
Yeah.
And now here's the prop that, so, but I realize that it's work in progress.
Yeah.
Yep. But that was very, very conducive to visualizing what was going on. And just like with ECAT saying, is like, okay, did you go high or low? Could very well see that maybe I tried to come in here, and so then she would duck down and do what her from down below. So that you can so yes, that helped a big ton. What else? Yes, I'll echo because it's worth repeating. ECAT, the birds, I like it. And that is going to also add a little bit more of, walking down or approaching something and leaning over. Is like, can you get them to shut up, please?
Not yet.
Right, I know, right?
They're crows.
That there's, with the peanuts and the bird, now we just have more things to play with, and props and NPCs effectively. So that's going to be fun. I appreciated Julie, you emerging your character, like, ta-da, and like it's like, oh, okay then. That was nice. That was really cool. And so, and it's not like Trevor said, it's not about optimization. Everybody is like, no, here we are fully formed. No, I was still in a freaking jean jacket, but I had my Ray-Bans. And various stages, and that's how it's going to be organic that way, and I like that. And of course, yeah, Trevor, the lines, dear God, the lines. I didn't even was like, so do you want the line or do you want me to have? It's like, I have no idea what line he's talking about, so no, go ahead. And then I thought, it's like, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that. I totally didn't think of that. Oh my God. All right. Wishes. I want, so let's see. I would like to, the life has still been very lifey for me. So I don't feel like I don't have a song or a soundtrack. I haven't been able to put in the extracurricular time to, just help round things out and figure some stuff out. I'm hoping that I can get to that to help just make everything more interesting and that much more vibrant, because I feel like that's what it's giving us. That's what all of our efforts are making: a more vibrant story, worse one-liners, and better interactions between ourselves and the environment that Patrick throws at us. So I'm really kind of conflicted as to, like, I was expecting not to use my power at all, but Trevor, you inspired me, so I figured, what the heck, right? And it made for a good it made for a good prompt, so I went ahead and I did it. And still, it's like understanding my affliction and its relationship with the rest of the environment, Like, so, okay, fine. I know that the Circus King, I get that because I feel that. So it's like getting in tune with what I'm affected by and how, so that I can play that off correctly. And that's just, I know it's going to take time, but that's why me as the player is a little bit hesitant with some of the things that I'm doing or saying. But it was nice to do leadery stuff and have plan, and that was kind of cool. I liked it. So thank you all for going along with that,
Absolutely.
even if none of it happened.
And finally, Patrick, stars and wishes.
All right. So stars tonight, my main things are first that everybody in the team has done a very good job of getting into the spirit of how combat works in a storytelling system. That it's not just, okay, well, I attack with my sword, I hit or miss or whatnot. Is that you're actually just building the scene so I could actually see what was happening in my mind. Is, like the mime's like dodging one thing, then dodging the other, and then gets whacked. And it's like I could just see all of this perfectly, which worked out very nicely. So I'm very glad with that. And I'm very glad that people are working with the concepts of their characters and building out on who they are, because you're more than just your powers. You have where your powers are going to go are kind of up in the air. So you have things like, like what is going to happen when as Ray's alien develops, because this is partially, will just be the character development as, new powers appear and stuff, but also what's it going to look like? Is it going to continue being like this, like horrible, like corrupt thing, or is something else entirely going to happen? I don't know, and I look forward to finding out what it's going to be. We'll see. It'll take a while, and we'll determine what that's going to end up. So I'm very happy with those things. For my wishes, I am glad that the battle map worked better. So that was very nice. But yes, we can. Like I totally forgot that I could draw on the screen. I'm like, oh yeah, I should just here's now that you can see it. Here's where the wall has manifested itself. So there's some extra stuff I can do with that, and also adding movable tokens around and things, so we can do stuff like if you pick up a sign or a garbage can or whatnot, you can actually hurl it at somebody. Because, hey, why not?
Yeah.
Especially people who, like, if you have a might shift, you can pick from pretty heavy things up. So, we might as well put that in there. So once again, very glad with how all of that's been working, but need to work with that. And I think I overtuned the two of them a little bit on their hit points, so the battle went a little longer than I was expecting it to. So, but that's with I'm still getting used to the math behind the system, and so hopefully we will get better with that. And plus, you guys will slowly start getting more powerful, and that'll take care of some of that problem itself. Although the really high-end folks are just ridiculous. So I look forward to at some point we're going to have a fight that's going to last 2 sessions. But I love that sort of stuff. So overall, I have some takeaways to work on and improve upon things, and I'm glad that folks like the map. Absolutely. So I can continue building it, and and one of the nice things is we can reuse some of this, because like this neighborhood is a place where you hang out. It's kind of one of the center points of where you work, and we can add to that. So I think that'll all work out nicely. So, and I'm also very glad that we came back from a pretty decently long time off and just hit the ground running. So that was very nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good.
I want to build on what you just said about you accidentally overbuffed the opponents. I think that worked very well, because I think it was good to feel frustrated, because it wasn't too frustrating that I'm now disheartened. It was just frustrating enough that I was like, God damn it, I need to do something. So it was like the very encouraging kind of frustrating.
And it didn't help that we kept rolling failures.
Yeah.
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 It really did. That didn't
The
help
dice
the
will turn
whole-
on you sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. These guys had the feeling of like mid bosses, I guess. Not, obviously not anywhere near the big bad, but not mooks either. Which I think for 2 of them, it worked relatively well. The general guideline is 3 hit points per level. So if they're level 5, they would normally have 15 hit points, or health, it's called in this game. And then you can tweak that a little bit. Usually the better way that I found to tweak it is giving them a point or two of armor. Because that's
I did this one by buffing up their hit points a bit to protract it without like ramping up their damage, because I didn't want them to accidentally wipe everybody out.
Yep. and that's another good use for armor, because that helps mitigate the amount of damage that we're doing without buffing up the damage that they're doing. I'm
still haunted by, I think it was dire weasels from a D&D game that I ran.
Dire weasel inside of a jar.
Yeah, no, a barrel. It was a barrel, and I almost wiped out the party on the first night because it was it was systematic, really good rolls on my part, really bad rolls on the parties, and yeah.
Did it go down anybody's pants?
Not that I remember.
What is it with you and pants?
I don't know, but keep talking.
Where else are you going to put a dire weasel?
Hey, you got a weasel on your face.
Now have some dynamite in your pants.
I do agree that the combat started to feel a little bit draggy by the end. I think some of that is still our kind of unfamiliarity with like how to go through the process of clicking on everything in the sheet. And obviously that'll get better with time. But yeah, I think this one felt like it went a little faster than the one in the bar. And that's, again, that's us getting familiar with the sheet and the system. But it still did feel like it dragged. So I think, I don't know. We can talk about there. I mean, there are a gazillion
a lot of it's
paths.
just getting more familiar with, the idiosyncrasies of the system.
Yeah.
So I am still learning a lot of it and making good notes as to what happened and what I can do to adjust for that in the future.
So one thing that I might actually suggest for the players is, so when we were doing the test, you had us come up with a power stunt, which was cool, and I love that. And I would like to see, maybe each of us have like a rotating one or two of those in our pocket, so that when it comes time to do something kind of cool, like I have one that I want to use for Crash at some point that I would have used if the wall hadn't been so easily avoidable. If I couldn't have just run around it, if it was like a box around us just with an open top, then that would have been different. But yeah, again, in the sense of, let's not make it, I hit him again, I miss him again, next person. And yeah, not to say that we're not doing, everyone's doing a great job of that, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm not saying that. But I think if we just pick up the pace and maybe, like I said, have some things in our pockets ahead of time, I think we can make combat really exciting, which it should be.
Yes. And the thing with the power stunts is that since it's generally designed to kind of break the rules as to how the abilities work, and the difficulty of the power stunts directly related to how far outside of the realm of what that ability is supposed to do is accomplishing. So for instance, like if ECAT wants Black Ice to be able to hit multiple opponents more often, she can eminently do that. So she can make it either a multi-target attack or an area effect attack. And once she's gotten that to work a few times, that basically becomes a skill. It's just a modification of it. And this is a thing you can now do. The difficulty eases off a bit. And so you have that as part of your arsenal. And then you can just kind of work on the next thing that you want to figure out how to do. So, consider that with the abilities that you have of, not only are you going to pick up more things as naturally as you go, as you develop more skills and stuff, and you can push yourself in several directions, but even just like your mainstay attacks, like if you have onslaught's one of your big things, so you can make it do a lot of stuff. And this allows you to pick up more varied things as you go, because we don't want to keep everyone just kind of niched in. because like comic book characters sometimes have some fairly ridiculous multiple things they can do. So like ice and animal powers go together just fine. That's not an unusual combination.
So I was actually thinking about that because one of the things, because we're using the more generic types and not using anything a little bit more regimented, we can absolutely play around with what abilities you get. And in fact, in Claim the Sky, they specifically suggest that. So there's a focus called Master's Swarms that is specifically for people with animal powers, controlling a flock of birds or a swarm of bees or what have you. And I'm sure that, if you and Patrick work together, to see what ability, what if any of the abilities of those you want to fold into the things that would normally be available for you as an adept. That's how you accomplish that kind of thing with this. Yeah. And again, it can lead to some really, really kooky stuff. So a little bit of background for anyone else watching this. I run in another gaming group hosted on a channel called Unmade Gaming. And one of the NPCs in one of the games that we've played in is a guy who's among other things, a kind of demonic, really fear-inducing ringleader. So I brought him over to this game as this circus thing, completely unbeknownst to Patrick and me, completely unbeknownst to the fact that this was the plan. So I'm hoping to see more of them because I want to see those two worlds collide because I'm just selfish that way. All right. Anyone have anything else that they want to pitch in while we're here?
No.
Right. So in that case, we will see you either in 2 or 3 weeks because life happens. But anyone who wants to keep track of my Mastodon account, which is vitruvianmeeple@dice.camp, or I'll try to put out a video on Twitch to tell you when we will be back. Other than that, for the crew here at the Powers That Be, thank you for joining us. Have a great night.
Good night.